It was supposed to be just another work party. My wife had insisted I come along, saying it would be fun, and I had agreed, mostly to avoid conflict. I wasn't exactly comfortable with her co-workers. Their small talk and laughter over inside jokes always made me feel like an outsider. But I wanted to be supportive, so I put on my best suit, straightened my tie, and followed her into the hotel banquet hall. The room was crowded with people in cocktail dresses and sharp suits, chatter filling the space with a hum that made my nerves tighten. My wife greeted her colleagues warmly, exchanging hugs and laughter, while I hovered awkwardly behind her. I was just about to excuse myself when I noticed him, a tall, confident man leaning against the bar, glass in hand, smirking in my direction. At first, I didn't pay much attention. People look at strangers all the time. But then he called out my name. "Well, well, if it isn't the lucky husband," he said loudly, his tone dripping with mockery. "Didn't think you'd show up, or were you dragged here?" I felt my stomach clench. My wife laughed nervously, clearly uncomfortable, but the man didn't stop. He circled slowly, like a predator sizing me up. "I have to say, I admire your patience. Standing here, watching her do all the work while you just exist." A few co-workers chuckled. I tried to ignore him, hoping my silence would make him back off. But he wasn't done. He leaned closer, his voice low but audible. "You know, I almost feel sorry for you. She's amazing. Too amazing, really. Lucky guy, right?" The laughter around us grew, and for a moment, I felt my face burn. Not just with anger, but with humiliation. I wanted to step back, leave, vanish into the crowd, but I couldn't. Not yet. I had come here to be supportive, and no one, not even this arrogant jerk, was going to ruin that for me. I opened my mouth, ready to say something, when my wife touched my arm. "Ignore him," she whispered, her voice almost apologetic. "He's just trying to get a reaction." I nodded, but inside, I was boiling. The man's smirk was infuriating, like he had some unspoken right to test me, to see how far he could push without consequences. I reminded myself that I didn't need to fight him. I wasn't going to stoop to his level. Then it happened. The man raised his glass, speaking to a group near the buffet table. "Seriously, though," he said, loud enough for me to hear. "I mean, I get why she married you. I really do. She probably just wanted someone dependable, someone who wouldn't challenge her, someone safe." The room erupted in laughter. I clenched my fists, my jaw tightening. My wife looked horrified, glancing at me, her eyes apologetic. I could feel the heat of embarrassment creeping up my neck. I had stayed silent so far, but this was too much. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. Then I said it. Not loud, but firm, controlled, the kind of tone that makes people pay attention. "Safe is exactly what she needed," I said, stepping forward so he could see me clearly. "And if you think that makes me less of a man, then you clearly don't understand what marriage really means." His smirk faltered for a second, replaced with something I hadn't expected: unease. The laughter died down. People turned to watch, sensing the tension. My wife looked at me, shocked, but also proud. I continued, my voice steady now, growing stronger with each word. "I work hard, I support my wife, and I respect her. That's not weakness. That's strength. And if you ever think that mocking someone's love for their partner makes you superior, think again." The man opened his mouth, probably to retort, but I didn't give him a chance. I stepped closer, not aggressively, but enough to show I wasn't intimidated. "And just so you know," I said quietly, but the words carried across the small crowd, "she chooses me every single day, and your opinions don't matter." There was a beat of silence. Then, slowly, a few people nodded, murmurs of agreement spreading through the room. Some whispered about how bold I was. Others looked impressed. My wife's eyes shone with a mixture of relief and admiration. The man's smirk returned, but this time it was forced, tight, defensive. "You're confident," he said, voice shaky. "I'll give you that." I didn't answer. I simply turned to my wife, took her hand, and gave her a small smile. She squeezed my hand back, silently telling me she understood what I had just done. Not for the audience, but for her. The rest of the night passed without incident. The man avoided eye contact, hovering near the bar with his drink, no longer daring to mock or challenge me. My wife and I mingled with her coworkers, laughed at the awkward small talk, and even danced a little later in the evening. But the victory wasn't in the dancing, the polite conversations, or the food. It was in the silence that followed my confrontation, the quiet acknowledgement that no one could undermine our marriage without consequence. Driving home later, my wife leaned over and whispered, "I didn't realize how much that mattered. Thank you for standing up." I shrugged, trying to sound casual, but inside, I felt a deep sense of pride. "It wasn't for me," I said. "It was for us, for what we have." She smiled, resting her head against my shoulder, and I realized something important. Relationships aren't built on grand gestures or words spoken in private. Sometimes they're reinforced in public, in moments that test the trust and respect you share. That night, I had done just that. And as we drove home, I knew one thing for sure. No cocky jerk, no smirk, and no attempt to belittle me could ever change the bond we had. My wife and I were a team, and anyone who tried to break that would quickly learn that I wasn't a man to underestimate. The gala had started as a potential minefield, a place where pride and insecurities could collide. But by the end of the night, it became a reminder of love, respect, and the quiet power of standing up for what really matters. And that, I realized, was worth more than any applause, any laugh, or any smirk.